If we talk a bit now about GenG, right, this is a team where I have to say it, this is why I don't totally blame some of the Western fans who are like a little bit out on Korea at the moment. Because the thing with Korea, supposedly in history, is you're supposed to be able to just point to the top end and say, fuck the rest of the table. Just look at the top three teams. Well, put them against any region in the world. You know, look, this guy's amazing. In fact, usually that's how you even trash talk. You just say, look, you know, the second best Korean team would dust off all the Western teams or whatever. The problem I have is, if GenG in the standings is the second best, I can't even believe that myself. Because the problem I have with this team is, even last year, like, dude, they were in the final, obviously, if you go back like a year or so, but the problem was, that was the team where there was always, like, they were always lacking that last extra gear. Like, they had, like, everything in the team looks decent, like, all pretty good players, like, they're all, like, mostly some of the best players at their roles, like, BDD, literally is, like, a person who apparently was made to win the Player of the Game award the way that they voted in Korea, like, his entire fucking play style, like, if you win the game, he wins that award every time, because how the team plays to him, so everything's looking good, right? But they never quite were, like, world beater for me. And so then I look in the off season, where are the fucking signings with the same team again? This is one area, Wolf, where I feel like a lot of Westerners won't get this. It's one thing that on the one hand I actually admire about Koreans, but I also really dislike, which is Koreans aren't trolling in an interview where you'll see, like, you know, Prime Faker back in the day when he was like absolutely the best player. If he loses the game in the interview, he'll make it sound like it's a 1v1 game and he fucked up. You know, he'll be like, you know, there's more I could have done, or maybe I made a mistake. And as a Westerner, you just think like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you're the best. Like, you can lose the game. But on the other hand, I admire the idea of, like, is there anything else I could have done? You know, is there like even a tiny way I could have improved? The problem with that thinking, though, is I also do think sometimes when they do it with their players, they act as though every player is like an unfinished project who can still max out to 100% like ability level. And so it means that you will stick with players and lineups for years longer, thinking it's like, you know, well, we're going to put more time in and more effort. And it's like, that's all well and good, but like sometimes like you're just never going to become like 1.5 times better. Like you've seen, like for me, this lineup's run its course. Even the signing, if people don't know, because I know a little bit about the LPL from back in the day, even the signing of the jungler makes no fucking sense at all, adding Flawless. Because if people don't know, Flawless actually did replace Clid back in the day on Jingdong, and he's basically just a worse version of him. They're like mechanical junglers who used to just be piloted by fucking Doinby or whatever. Like, so I don't even get that move, because it's not like you've done the old classic, you know, like, I'm going to take the tank jungler to go alongside the mechanical jungler, then I can swap out. It's like, you've got two of the same player there. So for me, I don't get the GenG project at all. Like, I get that it's a good enough team, but for me, it's a team it's just destined to come second and third. Like, I can't ever see how they win. So, have you got different hopes than me here, Wolf? Have you got some reason to believe in GenG? Come on.
I mean, it's a team that really reminds me of, you know, if I could make an Overwatch reference, Kongdu Panthera, like always second, like never able to quite make it. Like they were always a really good team and they didn't change their roster too much until, of course, it was bought out by London Spitfire and all those good players went away. It's like this, it's this team where I do kind of agree with your take that they want to see like, no, we're almost there. Like if we can actually just play a little bit better, then we'll get there. It does feel that way. They signed Birdall, who's a really strong top prospect, but like Rascal's one of their best players and they do everything they do in their drafts around Rascal. So like, I'm like, it's hard for me to be excited about Birdall when he hasn't been played yet and all of their drafts are literally focused around Rascal. So like, I'm like, well, it doesn't seem like you guys have any option of developing or any interest in developing this player anytime soon, right? He wasn't allowed to be played until the second round robin, but he still hasn't been played yet. I think that there's something going on in the team where maybe the players are burnt out. I don't know exactly how their practice is going or like what their scrim blocks are like, but it feels like the team is super burnt out and they're not really trying very many new ideas and their drafts look really similar every time. You know what you're going to get when you see a GenG draft. I think you see like the Renekton ban and the Camille ban in the first phase, and you're like, now Rascal can't play this. And then Rascal's like, I wish they left those open. And he ends up doing fine. He'll play a Gnar or something, and it'll be okay, but he doesn't get to play his play style. If GenG is, if this is going to sound weird, but it feels like GenG's team is very bored. And you could almost see it in some of the champion picks at life picks on the bottom lane where you're like, I don't know if this is good, but I mean, it's fun, I guess, right? Like when you pick up a lot of Jarvan on the bottom side of the map, very hit or miss. And in BDD was the player that was most hyped to me by, you know, some of the GenG coaching staff I talked to before the season started. Everyone's like, oh, he's looking so good in scrims. Like it's control mage meta. He's so good at this. Like he's going to kill it. But he's been fairly mediocre, like overall. Like, I mean, compared to what we expect from him, right? I mean, as a player, he's very, very strong. But like compared to like how well he was touted to me by everyone and how well he's played in previous years, I'm like, he's still at the same place. Like he hasn't grown. And this team just remains static. And I don't know if they can make any major changes right now, like because they've committed so much to this roster and they've got so many personalities on it. It's almost like you have to smash the whole thing and start over. It's hard to replace pieces. So I'm worried about them for the rest of this year if they can't break through this slump of just not improving. Because, you know, if you don't do well at MSI, if you don't even go to MSI, then you stay together and you either go to Worlds and get stomped again. You know, you beat some of the weaker teams, but you don't go to the finals. You don't do very well. You just come back. Like, how can those players stay motivated, right? I think at some point you do have to smash the whole thing and start over.
Yes. What do you think of Baxial?
Yeah. I agree. I think they need like, a change. And if it needs to be like a big change, then do it. Because I think as they are, I'm not even sure like they can get to the finals as they are. Again, like I think that another team can improve more. Another team can, have a better stylistic matchup, all that stuff. I think that right now, GenG, like if Rascal doesn't get ahead, actually, he's kind of useless. I think that he's actually looking almost as much of a weakness as a strength right now. I just don't see them improving that much. It seems very linear around top jungle. Sometimes they can have good team fighting later in the game because they have experienced players, but they don't look like a championship team. I'm not even. I depends on everyone else, but I actually don't think they'll make finals.